All right. Hi, everybody. My name's Dr. Martin Mrazik with the IIHF. I'm very pleased to be joined today by Iara Haiek. She's a current player, and we're going to dive into the topic of mental wellness and performance. Ira, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about you. And you're a player now, but just tell us a little bit about your journey to getting where you're at, and then what are some of the things that are keeping you busy at the current time.
Yeah, okay, so I'm a hockey player. I play for the Argentinian national team. I'm the current captain of it. I played my whole life basically, mostly in Argentina through my childhood, but then the last 2 years of high school, I went to play in Canada as ice hockey is not really big in my country, so I had to move to kind of develop more. And the last 2 seasons I played in Spain, and I'm currently in Hungary, playing the Hungarian and the Austrian league.
Well, my background is from Hungary, so hopefully you're enjoying some of the good food that they have in Hungary there.
Definitely, yes.
Great. So your story has been that you started out playing in your native country, but then you moved around, and so that means some adjustments and living in new places and speaking different languages, and that always can come with lots of adjustments. And yet here you are, and you're playing well. So just tell us a little bit of some of the challenges that you had to overcome, and what were some of the things that you found were really helpful for overcoming those challenges.
Yeah, I think the most important thing was to get out of my comfort zone and to learn how to do that because people often they advise you and they're like, okay, get out of your comfort zone. That's the only way to develop and to grow. But no one really tells you how and what's like the cheat code for it. So it was a learning process since I was 16 that I moved out of my country. And I think it shaped who I am. I think I'm stronger because of that. But there were definitely hard times that I had to go through. Those times are all really worth it right now for me because I think I couldn't be where I am right now without them. So I think they taught me a lot, and I learned a lot from them.
So again, you had to get out of your comfort zones, but it's a lot easier just to say get out of your comfort zones, but to actually live it like you did and live in a new country and make all those kind of adjustments and so on. So you said it seemed to help shape you, it helped you grow. What would you say are some of the ways that you felt that it allowed you to grow, or some of the things, and did that translate to your performance on the ice where you you have more of a different mindset?
Yeah, I think um moving out of my country, I went into Canada, which was the first country that I played hockey somewhere else. I think I had to learn how to that I had my culture and my beliefs and my way of playing also, and I had to learn that of course every country and every culture is different. Their hockey was much different, and it was kind of a quick learning process to be like, okay, I have to adapt. I have to understand how they talk about it, how they move, how they communicate with their coaches. Maybe in my culture we have more of a close relationship with coaches because also hockey is a really small family. So we have different communication ways with them. So maybe in Canada it was more through a formal place, and yeah, also with along with my teammates, it was a different kind of experience. And also there was this having a teammate from another player and from another country, and a country where you don't see players from. It was also a thing to learn how to own up to it and be like, yeah, I'll show you that there's a way and there's a reason why I'm here. I think I really had to show that and show my worth in some way to the players that were native from there.
Mm. Yeah, so that's just kind of the added, well, you have to perform here, right? You want to perform, and you want to be able to show even when not everything is comfortable, not everything is what you're used to, and you really had to dial into that, and you really had to kind of push through that. And it sounds like you've had some success. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I played my first year there in high school. It was a like an academy, a hockey academy. My first year was it was just an year that I took for to adapt and to understand and to keep it just easy for myself, to not put a lot of pressure on it, because I knew that it was maybe other players were living through it since their childhood. I was just starting to like understand everything. And it was also my first ice hockey season, because in Argentina we don't have ice. So we play roller hockey, even though we went to train sometimes with my national team and with my family. We went out to other countries to train. It was honestly my first season on ice. So I was like, okay, I have this factor along with me, which is crazy. And no one would like understand that this is my first season in like a prep school, you know? And it was such a weird situation that I think people, if you tell to someone that doesn't know me, don't understand, but people that were with me there understood that there it can happen. And if a player is it's young enough and can develop enough early enough to transition from the wheels to the ice, that's the only way to be like, okay, it can be done. You can see it, and you, I don't know, I just lived through it, and I was like, okay, this is my position right now. This is where I stand, and I'm gonna work harder and better and double, because I have to, because there's no other way. Like, they've been training in ice for years, and this is my first year. Yeah, it was difficult, but I took that first year to be like, okay, I have to adapt, and these are my days to do that. And then my last high school year was more about competing and showcasing myself, and yeah, that last year of high school. Sadly, we had the pandemic after, so I had to go back home. So I missed really my chance to go play somewhere else in the States or in Canada. But then an opportunity came across where I went to play in Spain my last two seasons. And that's where I went into a little bit of a downside with sports and hockey. I thought, well, maybe I'm like done in like the higher level, or like trying to be as best, and I can just, just be on my national team. And then this possibility came across, and I was like, okay, I'll try, because there's no failure. If you try, there's only like see what happens. So I went, I spent my last two seasons there. And afterwards I was like, okay, this is not enough. Like, I want more and I want more. And that's when I came across, well, I looked and searched for teams and everything. And then I came across to this team, and here I am.
Wow, that's quite a journey from literally not playing on ice to having to make that adjustments. And then, as you said, you had to make a lot of adjustments. But it really sounded like the mindset you had was just to be adaptable, just to make the best of every situation. And some of that is just that mental toughness that we talk about. But it sounded like that was really, really helpful and important to you, right? Is that you just kind of kept that mindset and that allowed you, and then these opportunities have opened up for you. But really sounds like you had to really have a mindset that said, we're no matter what the circumstances around me, we're going to push through this.
Yeah, I I can admit I wasn't good at first. I had to learn also to like be okay. Like, I have to keep a different mindset than everyone else, because my case is different. So maybe I was listening to my teammates or staff saying stuff about themselves, and it's like, okay, but that doesn't relate to me. Like, I'm living a different journey and I'm living a different path, and maybe they think they're behind, but I'm way like way on top of like my where I want to be, because there's no opportunities back home. So like, just stepping out, it's a plus for me. And but yeah, I definitely had to learn how to do it. I think when I was younger, so I moved out at 16, and when I was younger, maybe I was much more like anxious, or I have more fear. And I think I had to go through that to learn that mindset, and filling my head with like, no, you can't do this, or like you're the worst on the team, or you can't shoot as hard as someone else, or you can skate like that player. That didn't help. That just like tensed my body and didn't allow me to just like play my game. But it took me like that first year to be like, okay, this is not going to help you. Like just be in your own mindset. And maybe after like getting your gear off, you can think about all that to like go through it, because I think you have to go through it and you have to think about the bad stuff to like not fix it, but like just solve it. But I think now, being 24 years old, I can tell you that living through that when I was younger, now I can be like, okay, you need to like stay positive, because if not, you're just fighting a fight in your mind, along with the fight that you're fighting on the ice. Like it's like a double battle, and it's like not worth it. So I just try to keep a positive mindset on the ice. Like, you can do it, you can do it. Just keep going. The game's not over. And yeah, just like try to like be as relaxed as I can. Of course, it doesn't happen 100% of the times, but that's what I like try to do most of the time.
Yeah, wonderful. And it sounds like part of what you have to learn is that there's a time to think about all these things, but actually playing and trying to do too many things, trying to please other people, please other coaches. You just needed to play. And then afterwards, there was a time that you just said, okay, now I need to think about this. But it was really important for you to figure out the right mindset for the right time, so that when you were playing your game and not trying to play somebody else's game, because athletes, they think a lot, right? They're always trying to adjust, but there's sometimes where thinking is not helpful, it's counterproductive. And it sounds like you really have to learn about what is the best time and place to be thinking, but also to put yourself in a position where you could play your game and play the best you can. So it sounds like quite a journey for you to get there.
Yeah, definitely. It's a journey that I think no one can skip. It's just basically like what you need to do. But I think talking about it and bringing these topics into the table earlier than later, it's great and it's huge, mostly for like players that are still developing and they're still young, because when you're young, your emotions go all over the place every time, and it's way harder to like understand what's going on because you're like growing up still. It's like it comes with the years, with experience, but if you don't talk about it, it's sometimes you have kids going through stuff that you never knew, and maybe one day from another, maybe in Argentina it happens like some one year to another, someone's like, oh, I don't want to play hockey anymore. And you're like, why? You loved it and it was your sport. And they were like, no, like it's just too hard. I think I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if you would have caught that kid sooner, he would probably still be playing hockey. But it's something that we need to kind of do better, I think.
Yeah, just like you said, having early conversations, being willing to talk about the hard things and where you're maybe struggling more. It's not an easy thing to do as an athlete, is to talk about where you're struggling. And yet for you, that was really important, is to always be talking and having those conversations. So let me ask just a little bit about your journey. Is really you've got a compelling story of moving countries and finding new places. Talk to me a little bit about coaches that maybe helped you along the way and help this whole talk about the mental wellness and how that supported you. I don't know if there's any individual coaches that you think of, but how did they help and support you in this process?
So when you say coaches, I always think of my dad, because maybe he wasn't my coach all the time, but he is a coach. So he knows the game, he understands the player and everything. And because there's also the dad factor, he knows me like really, really well. So I think he always had the right words of what to say to me in which moments. It was really important for me to have that, even though he wasn't my coach. But I think it would have been really nice if the coaches I had from time to time were more open to talk with players and with me, and be more understanding of like sometimes players they always like there's a stigma behind always having to act like they're like perfect and as best as they can be. But sometimes it's just not the moment. Maybe something happened with their family, or they're just anxious for, I don't know, a big final that they have, or they're just more like down than some other days. But it's like you feel like you have to perform and showcase yourself at highest with a smile on your face and with energy, when it's like I'm gonna have days that I'm better than others. If your coaches are open to show you that it's okay to let them know, or to talk about it as a team, or just one on one, I think it's really important, because if not, you're just like keeping it to yourself, and that, as we talked earlier, that tense you up, and it's like your brain just like sends those things to your muscles, and then you're not it, like your performance is not better because you're tense, and then it's just a loop, that goes all the way. So I think yeah, coaches having like talking about it, I think it creates like a safer environment to all the players, and it can transform performance. It's just, I think it's great to have coaches talking, and talking about mental wellness, and how it affects every player on the team.
So just that conversation, hearing your coach say, let's talk about your wellness, or let's talk about how you're feeling, or maybe you're not feeling great. Just having a coach there to be present with you and just to listen. It sounds like that was really powerful for you, because then you could feel freer to just talk what's on your mind, and if you're having a good day or not a good day. But it just sounded like coaches that really set a foundation where, no, we can talk about this. This is important to you. It sounded like that was a real difference maker for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think a coach that I can think about also, it's my coach from Spain. She was recently like a former player, so she was very close to the teams, to the players, so she knew them very well, so she could understand them better. And as she understood them better, she thought that she could have more control over the team and be like, okay, like this is happening, we're gonna talk about it. And she was really open to discuss mental health, and how the team was doing, or if there was a player going through something or some other thing. I think she was pretty open, and I think that led to me to feel safe in that environment, and to feel like I can let her know when I'm not as best, because I can just like tell her, and I can not pretend that I'm great. And it's like I'm still gonna do as best as I can, because I come here to perform, but just letting you know, this is something that I'm battling in my mind, that I'm currently trying to leave behind, so I can play as best for you and for the team and for myself. But right now I'm not 100. Maybe I'm not 90%, but I need you to know, and I need you to show me that it's okay, like that you're not gonna bench me because I'm feeling this type of way. Like, I think that's really important, because I think that lets the players just like release that tension and be like, okay, I'm just gonna play. Like, if I'm feeling this way or that way, my coaches already know, but I'm just gonna play the sport and leave it for like after the game. But if you don't like say it out loud, it just stays in your mind like over and over again. It's like, why am I doing this? Like, maybe it's because this just happened, and I'm distracted, or I can't focus, or I don't know. It's just so much stuff.
So the coach is really helpful by just talking to players and saying it's okay to tell me how you're feeling. It's okay. Like, just that assurance, right? That they don't expect you to have a smiley face and be performing at your best all the time. And that when you open up a little bit, that there's an understanding there, right? That they really are like, hey, no, I get it. That's fine. Just do the best. It sounds like that's one way a coach really helps a player's mental wellness, is just by being there and just listening and just supporting that player. Sounds like that's been really, really helpful for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you take out, because the feeling of like needing to be perfect all the time comes along with the competition inside of the team, of like, maybe I'm gonna be played less than other players because I'm not gonna perform well. So I think a coach needs to try to minimize that feeling as best as they can, so all the players perform loosen up, and they're not like, oh my god, they're gonna cap me, or they're gonna take me out of first line or second line because I'm not having my best day. And maybe taking that pressure out of them, and being like, one, 1 hour of hockey is not gonna influence how I portray you as a player and as an individual and as a the way you play, or one mistake on the ice is not gonna affect how how you seem. Like it's about other stuff, like it's about how you like perform maybe through the weeks. Like maybe you're not showing that you care or you wanna develop yourself or you wanna be your best player. Those are the facts that I think coaches look at, not just like, oh my God, my slap shot was so wrong on that play. And they're gonna, so like but I think players just like get to that little, like all the little things that they do wrong. And they think every little thing is going to affect that. And that leads up to another little thing and another little thing and another little thing, like it's like you have to just like trust that your coaches know you good enough to understand that you're this player and not that player who just made that little mistake.
Yeah. And that kind of goes into my last question here, which is just, so how does this support, or this coach's emphasis on wellness, how does that tie into performance, right? So we talk about, well, what helps the player perform. So how do you put those two together when a coach really focuses on player wellness? How do you see it help performance?
Well, I think it just levels it up. I think when a player is not focusing on what they're doing wrong or how their coaches are thinking about them, I think that's when the good performance comes to life, and how they can showcase at best as they can how they play and how 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 they can like bring to the team. I don't know. It's just basically one of the most important things is just to like let go of what's going on the outside and just focusing in ourselves. But to be able to do that, you have to see with your own eyes that's an environment that you're at. So it's really important how the coaches act and what do they say and how do they talk to their team, and how do they portray themselves like as a coach. Like, are you approachable or are you leading out of fear? Or all those little things, I think they're really important, and they can affect players different ways because obviously not every player is going to be the same. And maybe someone helps have that, like one coach help it better than the other one. But I think it's really important to like think about it and to talk about it and to be like, okay, let's analyze this and how can we improve this, or how am I affecting my team as a coach, like asking yourself that question. I think they don't ask that enough. And I think it's a like good important question to be like, okay, am I doing something wrong too? Like, I know my players, you can see if they do something wrong or right through like visually like seeing it on the ice. But for the coach, it's more like of like personality or like what are you saying or how you're talking. And that's always more like difficult to analyze, I think.
What I hear is that players are really hard on themselves a lot of the times, and they make a mistake and then they're kind of going, is this going to affect me? But when a coach is very open to like really just saying, hey, we can talk about this, right? We can talk about that, and I'm going to support you. And it's really important that you know that I'm here for you. Just kind of those things just really sound like they set a really foundation where you can play better. You can play your game. You can play the way you know you can when you're not worried about all this extra critique and is this going to affect me? It sounds like that's been a really important thing.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I think having having that space to feel like if you say something that's not gonna affect anything on the team or with your communication or your relationship with your coach, I think that's really important. And I feel like it needs to be like more like the coaches need to like showcase more that it's okay that you tell me that it's not like minus, or it's not something that it's gonna put you like on a lower level in relation to maybe the other teammates.
Yeah. Well, great stuff. This is wonderful talking to you, Aura. Thank you for sharing your insights and your journey because you've had a very interesting story. I still think of how you had the transition from not even being on ice to suddenly performing at such a high level on the ice. That's incredible. That's really really neat to hear. And along the way, how you really had to learn about resilience and learn about yourself, and yet you did it, and here you are. And it sounds like you're still loving it. You enjoy it. Hockey's been just a good part of your life there. Again, thank you for coming. Thanks for being here. This has been really great and really insightful. And as I said earlier, we'll just take a few of these snippets and work it into our overall module. But thank you again. We really appreciate that. Have a great season for yourself, and we may follow up with you at some point. But again, just thank you for your time. I really appreciate that that you would take time for us today.
I know. Thanks to you, Martin. Thank you for listening to my story, and thank you for let me be part of maybe somehow the change of future head generations. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
Very welcome. Have a great day. Thanks for coming, Ayara. Bye
You
bye.
too. Bye bye.